to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. Today on the show, having another conversation about SEO, search engine optimization. And the thing is, it's really funny in the timing because coincidentally, last week I was listening to one of the podcasts that I listen to religiously, and it was a discussion about SEO. And what was interesting to me is that when the host literally opened the show, he said to his guests, "What is SEO? What does it stand for and what is it?" And I thought to myself, what? Really? Do we need to ask that question in 2018? But you know what? Maybe we do, right? Maybe we do. So here's the thing. I'm not qualified to give you the whole Wikipedia version of what SEO is. But this is what I'm going to tell you, what I understand it to be. It is what the googly man likes. It is the things that you have to do to your website, your social media, your Facebook posts, your Twitter posts, your IG posts, your Instagram posts, in order to make sure that the thing is found. Okay? So in a technical sense, there's no SEO in Instagram, right? But you get what I'm saying. It's that whole area of attracting through the technical aspect of your website and the things that you do online so that the googly guy finds you when your potential consumer searches for what it is that you do. All right? That's my highly technical version of it. Now, thank God that I have the ability to find experts for you to give you a little bit more backstory, right? And before I get to my guest today, who is Jason Berkowitz, I want to share with you that I think there are 4 things that I'm pretty sure know to be true about SEO. The first is that it's pretty complex and fairly confusing to us who don't specialize in it, right? It's sort of like, what is all that, right? The second thing is that particularly with the topic of SEO, I know that we really, truly do need to hear the same information over and over because there's going to be that one person that says that one thing in a certain way that unlocks that little switch for us and says, oh, I got it now. All right. And then the third thing is that truly, in this day and age, technology is going so fast that the rules and practices surrounding SEO change so often that we actually do need to readdress this topic pretty often on the podcast. And I have to say, I think it's been about 7 or 8 months now since we have done that. And then here's the fourth thing, that my guest today has a really nice way of talking about SEO that is relatable and makes it a little easier to digest for us creative right brain thinkers, okay? So, since 2010, Jason Berkowitz has been a leading figure in the New York City SEO scene. Starting as a search engine optimization freelancer, Jason successfully ranked his first firm, SEO Services New York.org, at the top of the Google search results. As this led to growth, Jason expanded his SEO company into a hybrid inbound marketing agency, Break the Web Digital Marketing. Since then, Jason has spoken at various marketing and business events, been a guest on several podcasts, and has consulted with some of the most significant brands in the world. Keep an ear out, in particular, for some of the changes he explains that have taken place in SEO in just the last year. And also when he talks about the tips for SEO optimization on one platform versus another. For example, your website versus YouTube. There's different principles that apply, and he explains that to us. So let me give a shout out to our show sponsor, Article.com. Now, here's a company that really needs to know a thing or two about SEO, right? Well, why? Because, remember, Article.com is a completely online resource for Scandinavian-inspired furniture and accessories. They rely on 100% on being found online, which, by the way, being fully online makes it so easy for you to view and resource their products and, of course, to order their products. Set up your trade account today and see if they can help you with your next project. Go to welldesigned.article.com. That's welldesigned.article.com. All right, let me introduce you to Jason Berkowitz. Hi, Jason. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Luann. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for coming. So this is a new thing for us, Jason. Your company specializes in marketing for businesses, but you specialize in digital marketing and digital PR. It was bound to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's going more online versus offline.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I thought that it could be interesting to have a conversation with you, because I'll remind everybody that I had a conversation in my first year of podcasting with Andrew Joseph. Andrew Joseph is the principal of a PR firm located in New York City, and he specializes in the interior design industry. And Andrew came on and he explained to us the things as interior designers that we need to have in place in order to even think about hiring a professional PR firm. And it was kind of eye-opening. I think a lot of us think it's, we hire the PR firm and then they create what we want to be and what we think we're going to be. And instead, Andrew was very careful to explain to us that you sort of have to be the thing and then bring it around to the PR firm, and they will help create the awareness of that, right? Of yourself and your brand. And so I'm curious how it changes when we think about a digital PR firm. What are some of the services that you first provide that we might be interested in? And then we'll talk about what we have to have to come to the table.
So my agency specifically is what we call an inbound marketing agency. Our goal is to generate traffic, which could ultimately turn into leads, customers, sales, whatever the service offering is. We generate traffic. Our core service offering is search engine optimization. We get awareness and positioning via the search results page. And we also do paid ads via Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We've recently done Quora, which has been quite the interesting experiments. But and then, of course, retargeting, which is always fun. When you visit a website, somebody leaves, and then we kind of digitally stalk you on every other website and platform you've ever been on. That's really what we do, is generating traffic for businesses that just need that awareness and visibility.
Okay. And so is this something where you can help a firm generate traffic that's just geo-specific to them, or is this only for possibly the designers in my audience that are interested and willing to do e-design? So do you understand what I'm asking? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with targeted ads, you can restrict them to people within X amount of miles. If you have a specific headquarters, X amount of miles from that city location, or people within that specific city, you can 100% geo-target based on the specific audience location. That's pretty standard in all of the marketing platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, again, even Google. If you want to do Bing, you can definitely do it with Bing as well.
Okay.
Get really specific.
Okay. And so then here we are. We have an interior design firm. We're located XYZ spot, and we want to maximize. It's funny because we had a marketing person come into our showroom at WindowWorks recently, and they were saying, oh, I don't know what it was. It was a direct mail piece. It was a magazine type direct mail piece. And I remember my husband said to me, well, they're going to give us a free area. Which area do you want for next month? And I said, well, let's take Livingston. Let's saturate where we live, right? Like right where we are. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's very important that we just keep going back to our same pool of people, because I find, after running our business with my husband and Billy for almost 4 decades now, that I still will go and meet somebody that I'll ask them, how did you hear about us? And they'll say, I found you on the internet. And I'll say, how long have you lived here in Livingston? I just had this recently. Somebody said 30 years. I was like, what? How could you be here 30 years and not know I was here? Like, it was crazy. And so I think that we sometimes go too big of a target, right? Do you find that it's valuable to keep going into our same core area?
Absolutely. You make it very easy when you target your specific area to bring in new people, make it easy for them, as well as make it easy for yourself. You're creating lifelong customers. Right. Somebody who's in your area is more likely to be a return buyer than somebody who has to travel 10 to 15 miles.
Right. Exactly. And so now we do this through when you do it digitally, when you do it through digital marketing and PR, I'm going to, take a leap here and see if I'm right. I'm assuming we're doing this through blog posts. We're doing this through our website. We're doing this. How are we doing this?
So specific targeting itself to a geolocation, you can do within your website through blog posts or a landing page that's delegated to a specific area. But on the easier way of it, having simply paid ads, again, whether it's Google ads or Facebook, targeting that specific area so everybody who has certain interests can ultimately see your ad that is only within that certain area, saves you budget and makes sure you get more targeted of an audience.
Okay. Let me ask you a question about this. Does a firm like yours allow a small business to come in? So a lot of my audience are interior designers that maybe are solo or 1 to 5 employees, right? So when I say small business, that's what I mean, because I know in the greater commerce world, industry world, small business is under 50 employees. Okay, so we're talking truly small businesses here, Jason. So when somebody comes to a firm like yours, can they simply say, hey, is there a menu that I can pick from where you can work with me to specifically develop awareness for my business through Facebook, paid ads, and blah, blah, blah? Or is it like you have to take all your services and it's a comprehensive approach and therefore a more expensive budget, I would imagine?
Well, I definitely don't want to beat around the bush or sugarcoat anything. Yes, a lot of the campaigns that we develop are very budget heavy. So they do require some initial budget, but there are people that come up to us that are looking to begin a certain marketing campaign, in which that case we do advisement and consulting, where our members on our team, whether it's me teaching SEO or our paid advertising producer teaching Google AdWords, teach these solopreneurs or solo artists, one-man shows, how to effectively run campaigns themselves. They're saving money in the long run with management fees. What they're essentially spending is a little bit more time, so they do have to do some of the heavy lifting, but it allows you to get the leg up initially, begin a campaign and get that visibility to start. And then obviously once you're getting a return on investment, you can invest that return elsewhere to let somebody else do the heavy lifting.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is if a firm has put aside a healthy enough budget, they can hire you to execute across platforms. But short of that, you do have almost like a hand-holding, almost DIY approach where you can come in, get advice and guidance from you, pay for that, and then go back and execute on your own.
Exactly. Kind of like having the ace up your sleeve.
That's interesting because, a lot of firms won't do that. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, that's actually where we've been contracted by a lot of other agencies out here, other marketing agencies, and some big Fortune 500 companies. And that's a big thing that we've been doing is teaching their in-house teams not only how to execute, but also standard operating procedures, frameworks, and systems to make it all seamless, to make the whole entire process as easy as possible. So you're really not spending so much time. For example, with SEO, as you probably have mentioned previously on the podcast, there's so many moving parts with an SEO campaign, and the goal with that would be how to make it as seamless as possible, where everything kind of works together and you can execute and get results without doing a whole bunch of 20,000 different minute things.
Right. Okay. I just want to go back to something that you said in there when you were first answering the question. The word you used was budget heavy. So it sounded like you said, like some of your campaigns, if you come to somebody and somebody comes to you and a full array of services are going to be on the table. What are we talking? Are we talking about 1,000 a month, 10,000 a month? Like, what's budget heavy?
I realize now budget heavy could be very different for many different people in many different situations. For us personally, with a paid advertising campaign, we like to have a minimum ad spend, which is the money that goes directly to the platform, of about $1,000. Without that, it's really hard to see results. With a paid advertising campaign, our goal within the first month is to collect data that we can use to measure and optimize the campaigns for better success, whether it's optimizing the copy, the images, the landing page, whatever it is. That's the goal initially, and that's what we would typically recommend to start with for a paid advertising campaign. With SEO, it's a little bit different. We would typically recommend a minimum starting budget of about $1,500. Again, this is my agency. There's other companies out there that might be a little bit different, but for us to execute on the processes that we've developed, it's usually a minimum of about $1,500 and up from there, depending on the level of competitiveness, the search terms you want to go for, the current status of your website. Many different variables come into that pricing as well.
So when we talk about a minimum ad spend of $1,000 or the SEO and minimum starting budget of $1,500, that's the actual dollars that we're going to pay for the ads. Then your fees are on top of that.
Yeah, so with ads, there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So with the ads, we also charge a separate management fee. This is, again, us doing all the heavy lifting that you can think of to ensure that you get the best leads possible. From the SEO standpoint, any costs that we have out of our end come from the budget that's delegated to us. So it's not a separate management fee there. Now, obviously, especially with SEO, the more of a budget we have to work with, the more bang for your buck we can ultimately produce, the more spending we have on our end to get publicity for the website, essentially.
Okay. And just so that we are able to be completely realistic here, let me give you a scenario. I come to you. Mm-hmm. I want you to run and test and figure out Facebook ads for me. I want you to do that do you do it for Instagram as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to do it in these two platforms. I want you to SEO my website, whatever that means. And I want you to do it. I want you to explain it to me every week or month, whatever the meeting cycle is, but I want you to do it. So I know I have to give you $1,000 for the ads. I have to give you $1,500 for the SEO. What am I looking at for the execution of that? What are your management fees about? And you don't even have to tell me yours. You can tell me typical. I just don't have any clue the range of this, and I'm sure that's exactly what the principal listening is thinking. Okay, what's the total thing I got to think at?
Yeah. So I'll go very broad.
Yeah.
The typical management fee for an ads campaign, and again, we have different tiers in our agency, but I'll talk more about very broad, is anywhere from 10 to 25% of the ad spend is the management fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we are understanding. Okay. I just, there's no point in having a conversation if we really can't make an evaluation at the end of it, if it's something we want to do, right? So that's good. I thank you for doing that with us. Okay. All right. So, and the thing, here's what I know. Look, you're talking about $1,000 for ad spend. If I know for window treatments, one new sale from that $1,000 monthly minimum is going to pay that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I could get 2 or 3 sales from it, and if I'm an interior designer and I got one $50,000 project from it. So in other words, my point is that it certainly is a lot of money. It's not, $10, okay? But it's not a lot of money in relation to the potential return on that money. Agree?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. I love it. Okay. So now, when we talk about SEO, we've had conversations on the show about SEO before, Jason, and they center around, the practical advice of trying to name our blog posts the things that people search for. Instead of these creative, nuanced names, just stick to what people are going to put in a search engine. We've had conversations on SEO about how to, do a little of that geo-specific in there, and you maybe do a blog post and you have a feature in your blog once a month or every other month about the different things in your community, the restaurants in your area, the right? Tell us, I understand that you, as an expert in SEO, have a list of myths that you say need to be busted, that we are all out here functioning thinking these are truths about SEO and we're missing the boat on it. Would you share some of these with us?
Yeah, and one of them I will start with respectfully, and what you mentioned before, is not to focus on catchy blog titles, but focus on the keyword instead. I think finding a happy medium is really ideal. So I do apologize if
I love it.
Other person, because the Google search results is your advertisement platform. If you're ranking organically and you have good positionings for your content, but all the other competitors on page 1 of Google have more catchy titles, they're not going to click yours. If yours just says interior designer Los Angeles, it gets the point across for SEO value, but where's the differentiation? What makes you better? Where are some of those hot words that people look for and love? Ultimate, the top, best, whatever. Again, it's a basic example, and even content itself. Lists, the 21 things you need to do to increase the brightness of your kitchen, I guess. Right. Those are definitely more catchy. I think finding a happy medium between creating a good click-through rate title and description for your post, and while also being SEO friendly, of course, is the best solution. It takes a little bit more work, but once you get the idea of things, I would suggest even going to Google and typing in clickbait generator and using that as a way to kind of create these catchy titles, formulate them while also keeping SEO friendly titles itself. But if your title is not eye-popping to somebody in the search results, again, you might have those rankings, but are people clicking through? And I think that's where a happy medium comes through.
Okay, again, that's a great distinction, because a lot of times we just simply we stop at going, we just came up on the first page in the first 3. Yeah. Awesome. And the idea, what you're expressing is what is coming up on that little heading and subheadings and the little paragraph, and will somebody click through to it? Okay. So you just mentioned clickbait generator, and I know that we've had that word on here before, but remind us what it is and how we use it.
There's a bunch of different generators out there from different websites. A simple Google search, you can pick your favorite one, but you just type in a topic and then it spits out like let's say you type in baby food, the top 20 things you didn't know baby food can cause. I don't know, just something catchy that we see on like BuzzFeed. There's many different things you can do. You just type in a topic and they'll just spit out a bunch of random things that seem relevant.
So this is going to generate titles that we're now going to use, or this is going to generate all of the things that have been produced under this title and you're using it to get your creative juices flowing?
That's exactly what it is. Okay. I wouldn't recommend copying and pasting, but just to give you an idea on what's catchy and what's not. Again, you also don't need to market with clickbait. It really comes down to the intent, and especially with Google and SEO nowadays, it really comes down to Google will favor you if you really match the search intent. Why is somebody typing in a specific search term? And how can you be the best solution for that search term? Matching that intent in the title, the description, content, 100% of course. I think that'll be the best thing you can do. And again, clickbait, I say the word clickbait mostly just to kind of, in a different sense, not to go viral, but to bait that click, to enhance that CTR, we call it click-through rate within the Google search results itself. Because number one listing, 100% is going to get most of the clicks. And the further you are down on page 1, it's going to increase that percentage significantly. So you really have to stand out. Okay. So again, It could be better intent, or it could be 21 things you didn't know that could, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so but now just to make sure I'm clear on the blog post titles, so we know that list titles often are good performers. Am I correct on that? Is that still right?
Again, it comes down to the intent, but yeah.
Okay, so but the thing is that that combination of being searched but then being clicked through. So what you're saying is it doesn't have to be completely dry kitchen in rustic farm, kitchen design or whatever, but there's some nuance in there in the play.
I would recommend the easiest thing to do is type in a search term, see what the competitors are doing. If there's virtually no competitors really doing SEO, then it might not be as fun to look at in the search results. But if your competitors are actively doing SEO for these search terms, it's very likely that they're focused on getting that click, but also being SEO friendly. If they're doing a list, try to fall in the pack while also being different. If they're doing interior designer Los Angeles, throw a word at the end to try to be a bit more catchy, highly reviewed, professional, whatever it is. Look at what the competition is doing. Reverse engineer them in a way. See what's working for them. Now, again, keep in mind, it might not necessarily be working for them, but it comes down to doing your due diligence and some brainstorming to kind of create that market differentiation.
Okay. All right. So I like that. So it's interior designer Los Angeles, and then interior. What did you say on the end of that word there?
You can technically throw in anything, maybe a pipe or a brake line, and then put in highly reviewed, award-winning.
Highly reviewed, that's what you said.
Award-winning, that's always a good one.
Yeah, well, that's one that we use here a lot too, award-winning.
Absolutely. It's catchy, it works, and I'm going to say, okay, I'd rather take the award-winning artist versus the Joe Schmo artist that hired a nice website design firm.
Right. Okay, all right, so I like that. So it's the combination of the basic search engine terms, but then throw your spin on it so that when they come up on the first 4 or 5, that somebody that's looking at it is going to be enticed to click through it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm nodding my head. You can't see it, but I'm nodding my head like crazy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's one myth. Are there others that you can share with us?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch depending on how technical we want to get, from the simplest
try us.
From the simplest standpoint. Most SEO blogs, SEO articles talk about meta information, meta titles, meta descriptions, meta keywords. Something like meta keywords that's kind of been phased out over the years, and it's really not relevant at all. And there is no benefit to using a meta keyword or to not use a meta keyword. So are you familiar with meta keywords?
So meta keyword, I'm going to say this is what I think it is. It's when you say, I take a picture on my iPhone of a window treatment and I put it on my website. You don't see it, but on the back end of my website, it says flat Roman shade, cravat fabric, I don't know, spin dust or something. And so that if you're looking at a Roman shade, but if somebody searches flat Roman shade or searches cravat, then that meta keyword is likely to help Google find it.
You're definitely onto something.
Okay.
Just the wrong terminology. What you said is an awesome principle of SEO, on-page SEO that most people forget. Okay. That's called the image alt text, the alternative text, kind of a description of what that image is about. But no, 100%, that needs to be done, especially in your industry. Okay. It can only help.
Okay. So I'm dangerous. I have just a little bit of knowledge.
No, it's all good. So a lot of these SEO plugins will have an option to add a list of keywords. And back in the day, it was relevant because you created relevancy within the page. So it would be interior design, shades, Los Angeles, whatever it was. Google has ignored it. Most people also have stopped using it just because it's very heavily spammed. And Google has started relying more on the content itself. Oh. They use something called NLP, natural language processing, to understand what a page is about, as well as content relevancy. So that's how they determine if something is semantically relevant to a search term that somebody might be looking for.
Oh, so you can't I see. So that we still, just to make sure we're clear, image alt text is still very important and we want to do that. But this meta keyword is that whole other different thing.
Yep.
Okay, so now that reminds me, and that brings me to YouTube. because a lot of interior designers are starting to utilize YouTube, and they're doing how-to videos, how to style a bookcase, how to arrange a coffee table, how to decide the size of an area rug, la, la, la. And on YouTube, there is a place to tag your videos. And that reminds me of just what you said. It is just, you just put in these just interior design, bookcase, shelf. Is that all, is that still useful on YouTube, just not useful on our website, or?
So this is where I'm a walking contradiction, because yes, it's very powerful for YouTube search engines and not Google search results.
Okay.
And the irony is that Google owns YouTube, so you would think that they would be up to par, but no, it's really not the case. Again, the idea, if you would use keywords, whether it's your website for Google SEO or YouTube videos, is just to keep it natural, relevant. Don't over optimize. Don't just throw as many words as you can in there. Just, simply what that page is about or what that video is about. And again, if you have a specific search term, even on YouTube, you want to target, throw it in there. Again, what I mean by not including meta keywords is if you don't want to waste time doing it, don't do it.
Right.
If you want to throw an extra 30 to 40 seconds in it, by all means, it has no effect at all.
Okay. However, for YouTube, it does work.
Yes,
okay.
That is the difference.
Okay, and now let's just stick with YouTube for just a moment then. So if a designer is doing a series of how to decorate or how to design videos, when we say the video is bookcase styling, okay, when we go to put those search tags in, I have the most silliest question that I've been wanting to ask forever and didn't know who to ask, and now, Jason, you're the man. So do you have to do it? Yep. Do you have to do it in, do you do interior design and then you do interior designs, and do you do bookshelf styling, bookshelf design? Are we doing every version that we can think of this, or that is just so absurd, Luann? Just put bookshelf styling and call it a day.
Again, you could. Again, the search engines are very adept to language and semantically relevant language. We call this LSI, semantically relevant, latent semantic indexing words. So Google understands that designers, designs might be semantically relevant to each other, and based on the search user's intent, connect the dots a little bit. Am I saying that it's bad if you do it? No. Is it necessary? Probably not. Again, it's going back to the basics and keeping it simple.
Okay.
The reason is because old school SEO used to make everything a lot more complicated and lead to a lot more over optimization. So you used to be able to get away with throwing in as much as you can, but Google algorithms are very smart now. If you even Google natural language processing, you'll see a whole bunch of content on it. They understand what's semantically relevant and what's not.
And so what you're saying is, even in those search terms, and now we're still staying with YouTube now, just so I don't confuse people, but when we do those, you're saying in those tagged searched words, it should actually be phrases as opposed to bookshelf, then space styling. It should be how to style bookshelves, or, you know what I mean? Is that what you're suggesting too? That makes it sound like correct semantic English to somebody?
Both without overdoing it.
Okay.
Now, you could, let's say you have a video that you want to target a specific search term within the YouTube search engine, because again, YouTube is the second widely used search engine in the world.
Right.
So it's definitely 100% viable to create videos for the purpose of positioning within YouTube itself. Just again, you can throw in the title of your video under the tags. You can throw in some of the keywords you're trying to go for. And what we like to do is just to keep it natural and relevant, semantically relevant words. So in this specific case, words that might be relevant to the industry, to the specific topic of the videos, things used in the video, just so it further helps the algorithms understand what your video is about. So they can only get so far. People give them a little bit more credit than they deserve. Maybe I'm doing that right now with the whole natural language processing. But the more information you can provide naturally without overdoing it, the better.
Okay. It's all very annoying. Can I tell you that?
No, I know. I agree. But I'm also not saying that spamming that tag page or that spamming that tag box doesn't work, because it definitely does.
Okay.
So I would say do your due diligence. Go for it. At the end of the day, nothing bad will happen.
Okay.
And you can always optimize.
Okay. So yeah, because I mean, we have been having a lot more conversations about video of late, and YouTube is becoming something that's very viable for our industry. And more, I'm hearing of interior designers who are utilizing and moving the videos that they make to YouTube. And so I think that but it's every darn platform has its own stupid rules. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's why you're in business, isn't it?
Yes and no. Again, it comes down to where your audience is. Is your audience on Bing? Maybe. Right. Most likely, they're probably on Google. Mm-hmm. Are they on YouTube? Are they on Yelp? That's a search engine. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I would think that a designer who is comfortable with video, who is motivated to do video, because you have to be both of those things, first of all. You just don't say, hey, this is a great way to advertise. Let me just start a whole YouTube channel, right? But once you establish that is a particular comfort zone and a strength of yours, that I think that YouTube is a perfect place for such a visual industry. How to decorate a bookshelf. I mean, honest to God. I mean, the people are Googling that. How do I decide the size of an area rug for a room? How do I, right? These are legitimate things that people could search for. And an interior designer that was interested in creating a little set of videos talking about these things. Now we're just explaining that we want to not ignore that keyword search feature that happens there on the platform.
Absolutely. Agreed. 100%.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else that we can, myth bust here?
I guess we could throw out one more.
Okay.
Old school thinking was to have links from around the web going to your website to power your website, and making sure that those text of those links are the exact keyword you want to bring for on Google. And we call this a backlink. When one website around the web anywhere has a link where they can click and go to your website, you now have a backlink. And the text of that link, which what we call anchor text, is used to send a specific relevancy as well as being natural, of course. And the old school way of thinking was to over-optimize that anchor text. The reason is because it used to work very, very well. So let's say I wanted to rank for, again, interior designer Los Angeles. I would focus my link building efforts to make sure that every single anchor text I acquire has the interior designer Los Angeles. The times have changed now, and Google has become smarter in the sense that it doesn't appear natural. Naturally, a bunch of websites wouldn't link to SamanthaSmith.com with interior designer Los Angeles just because it doesn't make sense. Also, grammatically, it doesn't make sense. It would be interior designer in Los Angeles, a Los Angeles interior designer maybe, to break it apart. But over optimization of anchor text is something that surprisingly still a lot of SEO companies do, a lot of SEO thinkings do. We definitely want to switch the playing field, go natural, go for semantically relevant words, go for branded, go for generic, like click here, go for URL, where the anchor text is just www.samanthasmith.com. I don't know a Samantha Smith, so if you are Samantha Smith, you're welcome. But yeah, just as an example in regards to keeping it natural all around within the SEO campaign, specifically the anchor text of the links that you're focused on building. Now, links is probably a much bigger discussion, but itself the anchor text, the text of those links.
I say this all the time with this stuff. It's a lot. We just want to run our business. I just want to say. Okay, so that brings to mind, I would tell you that probably once a week, I get an email from any random company anywhere in the universe that says, "Hi, Luann. We think that our companies are a perfect align, and we would love to do a guest post for you." And the last one was all about how to pick the concrete and the this and that and the other thing for your exterior pool. And I'm just like, it's so hard for me to even be nice to these people, I have to say.
Yeah, so, especially when the grammar doesn't make sense, right?
Right, and it's just like, stop, right?
And generic names.
Right, and so these are total scam artists. But the question is, what are they getting out of it? Why do they do that? Is this some sort of actual scam that I'm not aware of, that actually, if I were to let them on my blog post, that I'm like, whoa, totally missing the boat, and I'm just being annoyed at the surface level and not realizing the deeper? Or is there some legitimate to business benefit to them, and it's not like, I never occurred to me till just now that it was an actual scam.
It's not a scam. Essentially, they're doing what we all preach, just in a very bad way, which is essentially link acquisition. They probably have a client that's relevant to your industry, and they're simply just trying to contribute to your blog by giving a post which will contain a link back to their website. Now, that's something we do as well, a very similar tactic. Now, but again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to the quality, not only of the outbound email, but also the quality of the content.
Right.
And what we've seen is a lot of publishers have no problem accepting content from us because we're actually adding value to their website. We're actually adding value to their readership. And I think for them, either it's a win-win for everyone. They get great content that they can advertise for future use, and we get a link back to our client, essentially, and whatever traffic comes from that also.
Okay, so what you're saying to me is that it's not going to benefit me in the way it benefits them is they're getting a backlink. The way it benefits me is content, is bringing something of value to anybody who comes to my blog to read it. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. Now, so then that means that if it actually were to align, so this person saw that we did awnings and figured I should probably teach my readers how to pick concrete for a pool. Like, I don't, like it's not a close enough match, right? Like, that's silliness. Okay. So, but what you're saying though is if somebody wanted to do a post that said, this is the proper construction of a Roman shade, I might take a look at that and say, that's not a bad idea. Like, maybe well, that's not even a good idea because I only do custom and I wouldn't want to teach people how to make Roman shades. But if I thought that it might be of interest, I'm just saying that something that actually aligns, it's not bad for me to say yes to that.
I can tell when we do these type of outreach campaigns, I can tell which publications are very SEO savvy, because instead of pitching them topics, they'll say, here's a list of topics that we would like somebody to write on. And these are topics that they've already researched for content marketing opportunities for SEO rankings. So we'll still do it, but I'm also quite impressed. Like, okay, they want to rank for, I think we have a client in the music industry, and we released recently, it's a drumming blog about how to become a drummer. And the 5 easiest songs to learn on the drums was one content opportunity that said, hey, how about you write an article on this? And I knew right away what they were doing. These were SEO keywords that they wanted to rank for. And why not for them? Save the time, save the money to have it written elsewhere.
Right.
So what if there's a link? Oh well, it's not going to most people might not click on the link. Again, if it's natural and they're not doing a call to action, which we don't do. Again, we're not visit our website to learn more about how we can help you.
Right. Like the person that's quote unquote guest blogging, we should not be having them advertise within the blog to their place.
100%. If they are trying to advertise, then you can discuss an advertising opportunity, which is something completely different and another way to monetize. Why not, right?
Okay. And then you keep saying publications, and I'm thinking individual solopreneurs that are being approached by outside places. So that still applies if it's completely aligned. Like, for instance, if I were a landscape architect, right, and somebody wanted to do a blog post about, grading and selecting the concrete around your pool before you make the decision, that aligns. And that's information that might fit on my blog.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when I say publication, we said maybe it's a little salesy because I started using it just because any website is technically a publication. Okay. If you have a blog and you're posting, your publication. But again, it comes down to if it's something that's mutually beneficial. Okay. They're likely not, unless they're genuine writers who are looking to enhance their portfolio. Most people are actively looking to sneak in a link. Let's be honest. Right. If it's mutually beneficial and their content's great, send your content for approval. Okay. You can always reject it. Okay. If you don't like it. And then is there an opportunity here? Do you think that not a designer that's busy 5 days a week is going to stop and do this, but a designer that's in the early part of his or her career and they've got time on their hands, is it worthwhile for them to create blog posts that are well done and then pitch it to other, to corollary industries to have on their website? Absolutely. You just opened up a giant tunnel into what could be a whole bunch of different marketing opportunities. If you have time in your hands, by all means. I don't know, I can't attest to how many people of your prospective clients might be looking at your blog, but it helps to build your website out. Even from a Google perspective, the more full your website is, the more it helps them. It tells Google, okay, these people actually care about keeping their readers up to date. They actually care about keeping their readers up to date with new information, whether it's industry news, whether it's some really cool ideas. And you market that on social, and then people might pick it up, get the mini viral campaign or whatever. Okay. But by all means, content is king.
Okay. I'll tell you what, it's a lot. It's, I mean, this is not what we do for a living. And every 6 or 8 months, I have an expert like yourself on to talk about the SEO, because it is somewhat technical, and it does change every 6 or 8 months too, right? The things that, the Google guy gets smarter and smarter. It seems like what you mentioned more than a few times is natural language. And it seems like it's almost as if, all of a sudden on Netflix, aren't there a lot of shows about AI? And there's a lot of marketing that involves AI tactics. I don't know if that's really the right word, tactics, but strategies. And it just seems like that the computers are really looking more for, as you're talking about, things that sound like human beings, as opposed to 5-10 years ago, it could sound like a computer.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it any better. That's exactly what they're doing. It's crazy, scary, fun, annoying, exciting. It's a whole bunch of different things. I'm going through an emotional roller coaster just thinking of it.
I know.
But you said it exactly right. Is technology is going to become more advanced. What's working now in 10 years, 10 years from now, we're going to be mind blown looking back like, oh, I remember those. We had a smartphone. Exactly. Now we're probably in 10 years, we'll probably just think, oh, I wish I could call my husband, and it'll just happen. We don't even need the darn phone. Mind meld like Spock. 3 blinks to send a text message.
I can't even fathom it. Well, you see, I'm from the generation that we watched the Jetsons, and they had the TV that was like the telephone, and they could talk through the TV. And to think that is FaceTime now, and that it's actually real, is bizarre. It's actually bizarre.
It reminds me of Back to the Future. Also, Back to the Future Part 2. They had the same thing, video chat. Everyone's like, video chat? Right. Oh, yeah, now we have it on a simple little screen. It fits in the palm of our hands. It's crazy. It's insane. It moves at the speed of light, and I appreciate you so much for coming onto the show and, telling us a little bit about it. It's such a big topic. It's hard to really break it apart, I think, fully, but every little chunk here and there, I think, is good to just keep us a little abreast of the industry and like you're describing, the changes. Because I have to say, all of the interviews that I have done that relate to SEO and digital marketing, this is the first time I think it's the first time that anyone's mention this natural language component. And so that is a significant thing to me, that's saying that it did just switch again, and that it was worthwhile to reach out to yourself and have you on here, because that's new language for us. That's new information for us. So thank you so much, Jason. And thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.